Hello, welcome to the edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on today's show, and some wild news. The Frankfurt Motor Show may be no more. This is probably one of the weirdest things. In fact, as long as I've been alive, I can think of the Frankfurt Motor Show. In fact, it's 70 years, which is way older than I am. But it's just a weird situation. So, the auto show world is kind of dying. A lot of manufacturers are pulling out of major auto shows. If you've seen a lot of publications talking about this over the past several years. So, apparently the German government trying to shake things up are going to move it out of Frankfurt with the possibility of either going to Berlin, Hamburg, or Munich. So we'll definitely keep you tuned more of what we hear about the fate of the German auto show. Next up on the list, well, if you haven't seen the weirdness that's been going around about this Carlos Ghosn thing, it's got another little wrinkle in the story. And in fact, if you haven't seen the CNBC documentary on the whole escape situation, that was wildly interesting. You need to check it out. So, if you don't know, Carlos Ghosn was a rock star inside of the industry. In fact, this meteoric rise inside of the companies that he had worked for got him all the way up into Renault, which Renault was on the brink of disaster before he stepped in. And then he pulled up Nissan, who apparently was in the brink of disaster as well. And we've talked about how much Mitsubishi's been in trouble over the past several years. That was becoming a part of the alliance. Now, the trick is the numbers were really good until the past couple of years. Now, I don't know if this is what actually started this whole deal with Carlos Ghosn versus the country of Japan, but the Japanese government have a weird deal where you have to actually come out and say exactly what you make and be 100% truthful. So they're claiming that Carlos Ghosn didn't do that, that he was taking home a lot more money than he was actually claiming, plus misappropriating funds and using funds for his own gain, and there was a whole bunch of weirdness going on over this deal. The Japanese government actually killed him with no charges in a prison cell for almost a year trying to work on their case, and apparently this is the thing that happens in the country of Japan. If you get thrown into jail, they'll just keep you there hoping to crack you because they've got a 99% conviction rate of anybody that they actually throw in jail. Well, Mr. Ghosn wasn't falling for any of this stuff where he feels he's completely innocent. Now, the whole escape thing was a thing of movies, because once they finally did drum some charges on him, then they kind of put him in this apartment where he was kind of free to roam around Tokyo, but that was kind of it, where he basically left his apartment on his own volition, just wandered down the street where he met up with a couple of people who were in charge of trying to get him out of the country, and apparently there was possibility of a big music box or a shipping box for musical equipment that he was basically smuggled in. He was run on a bullet train for over 300 miles. This was a very elaborate deal where he was got onto a private jet where apparently at this particular airport, the security's kind of sketchy at best. And then he was flown to Lebanon, where he's been ever since. Now, the whole Lebanese thing is really come into focus because Interpol and the Japanese government have gone to the Lebanese government and told them that they have 40 days to either extradite or tell them what they're going to do with Carlos Ghosn moving forward. Now, the trick is this 40 days is kind of weird because there really is nothing they have against them being the Japanese government or Interpol, to actually make the Lebanese government do anything in any way, shape, or form. Mr. Ghosn actually wants to have his trial in Lebanon, basically to maybe get a possibility of having a more fair trial, if you will, where he thinks there won't be that particular trial going on in Japan. So it's going to be real interesting to see what happens over the next 40 days, because this story is long before being over. And honest to goodness, I don't know who to believe. I don't know if Carlos Ghosn's lying, if the Japanese government is lying, what's going on in this particular story, but it is wildly interesting. And when we talk about this thing being the stuff of movies, apparently that's actually what's going on, is apparently there is being a movie possibly shopped around, especially from one Carlos Ghosn who wants to be involved in the whole situation, possibly executive producer, maybe even just a consultant on it because he wants to get the story right. So this is going to be wildly interesting over the next several weeks about what exactly is going to take place, and I'll definitely keep you tuned more of what we hear. Next up on the list, we talked about the Frankfurt Auto Show going away. Well, the possibility of the Mercedes Formula One team could be going away very soon. There's a lot of rumblings that Mercedes may be pulling out after the year of 2020. As we all know, if you're a Formula One fan, the 2021 season is going to be a huge amount of change, as there's going to be an entirely new rule book, an entirely new possible power unit maybe, and a lot of different workings amongst the cars and amongst the teams. There's going to be a huge amount of financial constraints on the teams themselves. Now, Mercedes apparently is going to continue on as a power unit supplier, but the team may be going away. Now, the rumors are wild about what could be going on. There's a lot of talk that the head of their Formula One team, Toto Wolff, may be taking over the team as himself. Possibly Lawrence Stroll could be involved in this deal, and the Mercedes Formula One team will become the Aston Martin Formula One team once that whole deal with Lawrence Stroll, which then you know that Lance Stroll will come into play in this particular deal, driving for this team. There's wild rumors that the world champion Lewis Hamilton may be leaving for Ferrari. Of course, those rumors have been going on for a while now, and it's just really intriguing on what could be going on. And definitely by mid-February, apparently there's going to be an announcement made. Whether or not this is actually taking place, we'll definitely keep you in tune more of what we hear. And last up on the list, some sad news. Right before the taping of this particular program, word came out that John Andretti has passed away at the age of 56. He's been battling cancer over the past several years and has been a huge proponent of colon cancer screening, getting colonoscopies done by several people. A lot of people have been going to their doctor saying, John Andretti sent me. And he was really making some movement in this deal and supposedly was cancer-free, but then apparently the cancer came back in May of this year, or of last year I should say. And apparently today, the taping of this particular program, he lost his battle with cancer. Our prayers go out to his family and friends in their times of need. John Andretti was a rock star inside of the automobile world. I mean, geez, he raced everything. Dirt cars, sprint cars, he did sports car racing, NASCAR, IndyCar. He did it all. In fact, he was the first guy to ever do the double, trying to run the Indianapolis 500 and the Coke 600 in the same day, a race 500 miles in Indianapolis, Indiana, and 600 miles in Charlotte, North Carolina. That was a huge feat, which has actually been done a couple of times since. John Andretti, one of the nicest guys in the sport, and he will be violently missed inside of the motorsports world and outside of the automotive world. Our thoughts and prayers again go out to his wife Nancy, his 3 kids, and the rest of his family and friends as they're grieving in their times of need. I hope peace will come to them soon. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Don't forget to like us over on the Facebook page. Links down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time. The first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.